Hello, I'm Morris Parker and welcome to Race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series, coming to you from beautiful Sydney Harbour. Last week, of course, Race 1 was dominated by Warren Miller and his crew of World Exchange. Let's have a look at the points table after Race 1. World Exchange on 10, Pace Express 9, Jindalee on 8 points. And as you can see, 7 skiffs there yet to make the points table. Tony, after last week's win by World Exchange, can they do it again this week in race number 2?
Oh, Morris, I'm sure he can, and he'll probably be trying his hardest and give it every shot he's got. But I guess there's a couple of other boats coming on. I think Pace sailed very well in the first race. You've got to put Pace in as a chance in the second race. Sailed by Stephen Quigley, very good skiff sailor as well. And I'm still sticking with the 2UE Barracuda crew. They'll be there.
They're a good crew, a family crew.
Family crew. It's father and son. Young Brent in the bow, and yeah, a bit of age difference there, but as I've said before, Trevor is the best skiff sailor in the world. I've got to go with him, but I like Pace, I like Lexmark. I think Lexmark is showing a bit of form. Another new boat, another nice new boat designed by Ed Murray is the Richard Ellis. I think you'll find Richard Ellis will sail very well as well. So, series still wide open, the Powerade Super Skiff Series, and a lot of days to go, but looking forward to today as well, Morris.
Well, once again, before this interview, you've been out there on the course for us. What have you set up for us today?
Well, we've got similar conditions again, and a nor'easter, not too fresh, with big sail day. All the boats will come out with big sail. They'll all be equal. They'll all be trying.
Thanks for that, Tony. And let's just see how they line up for Race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series. Richard Ellis, Lexmark, Yandu, Foster's Light Ice, Pace Express, Mitsubishi, AFS, 2UE Barracuda, Hog's Breath Cafe, Rat Roof Rakes, West Coast Cooler, FGI, Line 7, last week's winner, World Exchange, Jindalee, Aspie, Sail Shades, Shade Sail. And before we start, let's have a look at some of the rich history of 18-foot skiffs sailing. The Britannia, built in 1919, gives us a fine example of the boat builder's craft. Wee Georgie Robinson took just 6 weeks to build her, and he successfully raced Britannia for over 25 years. He used over 7,000 copper nails, ranging from half-inch pins to 6-inch monsters to fasten her together. Each nail was hand-dipped in varnish before being driven into the cedar. Britannia's Oregon spars carried over 3,000 square feet of cotton sail and was weighed down by a human ballast of a crew up to 17. Built in working-class Balmain, Britannia was raced with members of the local rugby league club, many proudly wearing their Balmain jumpers. A far cry from the high-tech racing craft we see on Sydney Harbour today. Britannia has been lovingly restored to her former glory and is on permanent display at the Australian National Maritime Museum in Darling Harbour, Sydney. Today's weather on Sydney Harbour for Race 2. Fine and sunny, a light breeze, 7 to 10 knots, a north-east to east blowing, and 21 degrees Celsius. And all skippers have chosen large rigs. Tony, once again, large rigs.
That's it, Morris. All got the big washing up again today. Last nervous moments on the beach, just in final preparation.
We'll be back in just a moment for the start of Race 2 in the Powerade Super Skiff Series. Welcome back to Race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiffs Series. Well, there it is, Tony. Last week's winner, World Exchange, hoping for big things today.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he'd like to repeat last week's performance and get out early again and lead from the start right through.
Tony, you've been out once again to set the course up, so let's have a look at today's course for race number 2.
Morris, today we've got a northeaster breeze again, so obviously start on the start line, work against the breeze up to the windward mark. Having rounded the windward mark, they then set their spinnakers, running off a breeze outside the wing mark to the leeward mark, drop the spinnakers, take it off, work up against the breeze again, round the windward mark, set up again, nice run home to the finish.
Tony, the yachts are ready for race 2, are you?
Well, I'm looking forward to it, Morris, very much.
Just about to start now.
Dump it quickly, big one. Okay, let's go. Quickly, get the wing out, Aaron. Oh shit. Quick. That will hurt. Don't hit the boat. Don't. Stop this! Dump the wing! Quick, don't swim! Oh, guys, just push the boat up! Well, I know, but we're in damage control now, mate! Push the boat, jump out, quick! Just push the things apart! There are holes everywhere.
Tony, I think Warren summed it up. Damage control.
I think he's had a brain fade, Morris. He needs a Valium. Give that man a Valium. Settle him down. Is he anxious to win another race?
What a start to the race.
Oh, mate, he's gone nuts, my old mate was.
Let's have a look at the fleet down there. What's happening?
Well, again, Pace has made a nice start, hasn't he? He's got the windward line and he's got the fresh air and he's moving away very well from the rest of the fleet. I'd say he's very handy spot. Pace, nice start.
Pace, one of the favourites for the series, really, Tony.
Well on form from last week, Morris. He looked well last week, another week up, and looking very well.
TUE Barracuda, Light Ice, Mitsubishi Electronic, and Richard Ellis in the shot there.
Richard Ellis well to windward, of course, sailing well, fresh air. But look at Pace, nice balance, well settled, sailing well.
We just saw Foster's Light Ice then. They're a good crew, aren't they?
Richard Durley, great enthusiast. Richard with his crew of Chris and Peter. They'll be a force to reckon with. New boat again, of course, it's only just built for them. Sailing well though. There's an interesting shot with the sail shades being sailed by Sean Leonard. Sean has just come off the America's Cup campaign.
After seeing today's carnage at the start, obviously a good start is vital in this kind of racing. But just what happens if you get a bad start? Let's ask John Winning.
I'm pretty good at that, getting bad starts. Well, you've got to sail a hell of a lot harder to get through, but that's all. You've just got to hope there's a few shifts that you can get on the right side of you. There can be some advantages sailing from behind. You can see something going wrong ahead, but it's generally a lot easier to sail from in front.
That's putting it nice and simply, isn't it, John? Sailing from the front, it's a lot easier. Yandu, of course, the skipper of Yandu. Back racing now, race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series. Barracuda there, Tony?
Barracuda there, and again a nice short sail shades being sailed by Sean Leonard and Macca. Macca's been around for a long time, great enthusiast also.
Pace has got a great lead.
Oh, well, yeah, got away nicely at the start. You see, the secret of the sprint series is to get away early.
Tony, let's talk about that start. It really was a schmozzle, wasn't it?
Didn't my mate was to give him some at the start. He's bumped his spinnaker pole into the rack, broken his pole and finished his own day, and I think he put rack into the water as well. I noticed also Jinder Lee and the AFS were over the line and were recalled and had to come back, so they've had a fair penalty, as has the rack. Waz's day's over.
Waz's back to the skiff club?
I would think he's back for beer.
Now, I tell you that your nickname's the boss. What would you have said to him?
Oh, mate, I don't know how they call me the boss. That's not the only thing they call me around here, but that's a nickname that sticks from a long time ago.
With the Australian Sports Performance Institute there in shot?
Yeah, look, but there's Quigley first around the top mark, being followed by Richard Ellis. We call him the houseboat, and he'll give him some too, Richard Ellis. He's a pretty... hang on to it, boys.
Don't put the mocker on him.
Very difficult to get around the marks, as I've said before. Nice set with the AAI pace. Stephen sailing from the front. Australian Sports Performance coming into second place now. Also a nice set. Rookie in the boats, but he'll be a force. Lexmark sailing well as well. His second week out. Looking more balanced today. Hello, Richard Ellis will have to go back around. He's hit the mark. Oops. What have we done, boys? We shouldn't have spoken about him. Look what we've done. We've put him in the drink.
They're going to blame you a lot for this.
Oh, well, there you go. My nickname won't be the boss.
Just going around the mark there. Mitsubishi Electric. West Coast Cooler. Now, West Coast Cooler is one of the older boats. Is that right, Tony?
An interesting coup. Greg Pugh coming in for the first time this year after sailing the 16s up in Newcastle area. He's come to Sydney to try and get into the big time, but a whole boat, he's making a great job of it.
Wasn't much sailing then, we just saw on screen.
She's a little tidier to get into the above the lay mark at the start line, and they're going to have to flog their spinnakers. A little bit of skill required here because the spinnakers are not running with a full head of juice.
Just seeing that last shot there, Tony, looking at the weather there, it's getting a bit grey and overcast. Would that be a concern this afternoon?
Getting a little bit more east in this breeze, I'd say, Morris, and it's freshening a little. It's going to be a little difficult to lay your boat above the start line, which you've got to stay outside the gate of, and they'll have to flog their spinnakers, and we'll see in a minute, but that takes a fair bit of skill.
Let's just go through the weather report again. Of course, it's a light breeze of 7 to 10 knots, a north-east to east, as you just mentioned, and 21 degrees Celsius.
And they're all cracking a fair bit of east in that breeze now, and that's why, as you can see from this aerial shot, they're laying it with a full head of pressure to keep above the start line.
Some terrific shots there from Chopper Cam. Pace looking terrific, Tony.
Pace sailing very well, Morris, and he's been lucky he hasn't got too much east, and I think he'll get above the line comfortably.
Pace currently 15 to 20 seconds in the lead. Dominating race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series, Ace Express. Welcome back to race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series, and joining me in expert commentary is Tony Reynolds, better known as the Boss.
Oh, give it a break, Morris, come on.
Your mates there on screen, Yandu?
Sailing a lot better this week, I think. John and Jay and Jan Hodder, they're sailing much better. Line 7, there's a great shot of line 7. Interesting crew, line 7, Tony Hannon, Nick Rich, Andrew Stabak. They'll be a force to reckon with in this class.
Pace still in the lead, of course.
Got away a bit today, Pace.
Richard Ellis.
There's the old real estate boat, Richard Ellis. Well, actually, it's a brand new boat. Another pretty top-line crew, Jeremy and Rob, and, of course, Gavin sailing the boat. That's a top-line crew again.
And, of course, Richard Ellis had problems at the start, but they're now back in action.
Well, I think they've done a penalty up the top of the windward mark. They'll probably give them a red flag by the judge, I'd say.
They'll still have a few problems because they are back in the pack.
But that's a nice shot of line 7 again. That's a very handy crew on that boat.
Ginger Lee jibing there.
Ginger Lee coming again, another crew coming in to try and make the big time in the 18-footers this year, out of the 16s from Newcastle. Trevor going for the set. Young Freddy's son in the middle there, and Brett at the front, trying to get the gears set. Hey, they've dropped her overboard. I don't want to go home to dinner with Trevor and Trent tonight. I wonder what's going to happen over the dinner table there.
I wonder if they talk about anything else bar skiff sailing.
I don't think so. I think that's their life. Well, I know it's their life. They love it.
Great shots there from Tim Nurmi in the water there, taking you right into the heart of the actions. Here, the Powerade Super Skiffs.
Graham Turner there leading the Richard Ellis boat. Haven't seen a lot of Graham. I think he's got a new sheet hand today. Lexmark, another boat that we're looking forward to see some better form from. Sure we will shortly. Here we go back to Johnny winning, and sailing a lot better, Johnny.
That's a terrific shot, isn't it?
Well, they're coming down, and as I said, struggling to keep up above the starter's boat, you can see there, and they've got to flog their spinnakers to stay above the starter's boat and keep outside the mark, which we now can't quite see in camera.
Looking at that shot there, West Coast Cooler has done well.
Oh yeah, as I said, rookies coming in from up the coast, and we're looking for big things from these guys.
TUE Barracuda in the background there as we go around.
Nice jibe from the boys on West Coast. Not easy to jibe the boats.
Let's just have a look at this shot again there, Tony. Communication is absolutely vital, isn't it?
It's a three-man team. You've all got to work together. You all need to know what the other person's doing. You really need to be able to sort of almost read each other's movements on the boat.
Do you have to think for each other?
Well, if you work a lot together, it's like the front row of a football scrum. you've got to work together and you've got to understand one another. You've got to have a lot of simpatico with each other, and you've got to sail as a team.
Lots of action here in race 2. Plenty of races to go. There's a 9 this series as we keep going on. Mitsubishi Electric on screen. In 18-foot skiff sailing, there's nothing worse than playing catch-up.
We normally spot one boat that's sort of easily attainable, not far ahead, and say, right, we're going to get him. Once we get him, we move on and take them off one at a time until we get to the top, hopefully.
Back to the racing now.
Gaggle boats trying to get into the leeward mark, drop their gear. Oops, hang on, Johnny Whittingwell, mate, he's in trouble again. Have a look at this, will you? Well, they've dropped him overboard. Line 7 got down nicely and sailed away well from the mark. Pace Express AI pace well in front now. Graham Turner coming in with the jibe and getting it down.
Tony, we were talking about communications. Just how much training do these guys do?
Oh, well, in the case of Graham Turner, he's been sailing these boats for 15 years, and he's got a new sheet hand on board today, and you can see it upsets the whole teamwork. There's the judge.
Red flag.
Red flag. Somebody's got the 360.
Tony, once again, explain to us that 360 penalty.
Well, you have to either, if you want to win, go as quickly as you possibly can in your fee of other boats around and do a 360-degree turn in the boat. So it's probably a penalty of about a good 60 seconds, I would think.
No one wants one of those in this kind of racing.
Too hard to make it back, Miles. Too hard.
Pace looking great once again. There's Jinder League.
Well, they're going through the jibe again. Lexmark got a nice jibe. Jinder Lee a little shaky on the jibe. Lexmark away sailing again, and Jinder Lee still struggling to complete the jibe.
After Jinder Lee's good jibe at the last mark, look at that one.
That was a cookie, that's right, Miles.
You just can't pick at this race. You can have a great moment, then absolute hell can break loose.
Well, look, in all sports, you know, when you watch a Gassi hit the tennis ball, it looks easy, and this sailing thing is exactly the same. The good people make it look very smooth.
Line 7, Foster's Light Ice, and Richard Ellis on screen there. Uh-oh.
What happened? We fell over. We did, we fell over.
They fell over. Nicely put, nice and simple there, Tony.
Well, nice and relaxed attitude about it. Not everyone takes it as well as that.
Do you find a lot of times out there, Tony, frustration can really set in, and maybe sometimes you should just laugh it off?
Well, of course, you've got to stay cool on these boats. You've got to be cool and you've got to be calculating. You can't allow frustration or angry moments to take control. Good teams are smooth teams.
Pace still in the lead there, doing a great job today.
Well, again, as we saw last week, once you get in front, you've got free air, you're sailing from the front, and everyone else has got to play catch-up, and it's better to lead the race and be more comfortable. Back on the breeze, the pace, and coming back up to the windward mark for the second set and to run down to the finish. Shouldn't get beaten from here, I'd say, Stephen.
Barracuda Tiwi still looking very strong. They're a really good crew.
Oh, well, I don't know just how much of the Super Skiff Series type sailing that crew's sailed in, but some crews can sail in these Super Skiff Series better than others. Some are more attainable and do better in the longer races.
Tony, it's quite amazing. From these series, lots of sailors go on to the big league. We're talking America's Cup, aren't we?
Well, look, you know, there's little doubt about it in the yachting history and the yachting channels of Australia. Most of the yachting greats of this country have come from 18-foot skiffs. We only have to think of people like Lexer, Murray and Trahan and the Beachels and the people that have come out of 18-foot skiffs who us.
Tony, a great breeding ground.
Without question, Morris. Great breeding ground for the future talent of Australian yachting.
Will Pace Express take out race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series? We'll see in just a moment. Welcome back to the final stages of Race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series. It's Race 2, and on screen, Barracuda 2UE looking very strong.
Sailing a lot better today, Morris.
They sure are. And there's Pace, our leader, who's currently, I believe, got a 55-second lead.
You're not going to catch you from here, Morris. He's just around now to the windward mark. Nice set and run off to the finish.
Let's just update some of the placings right now. It's Pace in front, followed by 2UE Barracuda. Richard Ellis is in third, followed by Mitsubishi and West Coast in fourth position.
Well, that's a pretty handy result too for Mitsubishi. Benny Derwin in his new boat coming along with Mark and Richard, and obviously sailing better today than they did last week.
The pace crew, as you said, Tony, looking very confident.
Here they go for the set. All important to get a nice set here, and they've done it. Set her up, full head of steam, boys, and just take it nice and cool to the finish. I don't think can get beaten, Moz.
As I mentioned before, speaking to the timekeeper, 55-second lead. That is pretty much unbeatable.
Oh yeah.
Richard Ellis there on screen.
They're having a better day today too, aren't they?
They sure are. They're in third position at the moment, just in front of West Coast.
Incredible result from West Coast. You know, 5-year-old. Both those guys are sailing. Incredible result for them. I'll be very happy. Still a way to go for the minor places, though. They're not going to head off the AEI pace, but got a struggle here between the 2UE, maybe the Richard Ellis and the Mitsubishi.
Of course, this is race 2 in a 9-race series, and lots of tough competition ahead of us, Tony.
Still a way to go, and they're really starting to sharpen these new boats up. And as I said, 10 new boats in the fleet, and they all take a little settling down and working together. We're going to see a lot better racing as the series heads along.
And I'm sure lots more rivalry when we get to sort of races 4, 5 and 6.
When it starts to get down to the wire, they're going to get a little keen.
There's the rack boat after having a few problems back there before. Start of the race.
Yeah, he sailed back very well, didn't he, Rack? Carl Schroeder and his lads, they've come back into it. There's another boat to watch in future heats, that Lexmark. Greg Patterson, as I said, coming off the European Series, great sailor.
Good to have Greg back in town.
Oh yeah, well he's been anxious to get this boat in the water, and only struggled in a few weeks back.
There she is, looking terrific. Pace heading towards the finishing marker in race 2 of the series.
Sailing nice and flat, Mo. He's got to sail these boats flat. Nice set with the spinnaker, well trimmed, well balanced, sailing to the finish. Deserved winners, I'd say. Hard to get beat.
Mitsubishi currently in 4th position.
Lovely balance on that boat today. Deserved winners, I'd say. Here they come to the finish now. That's the money. Take her home. She's the money boat today. Won the race.
There it is. Pace Express, winner of race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series. Followed in 2nd place there by Barracuda 2UE.
Well, Barracuda 2UE, much improved today. Trevor must be beginning to like these Super Skiff Series.
No family fights this evening over the dinner table.
Well, they had that bad set, and they'd have done a lot better if they hadn't had that. What was it earlier in the race when they dropped the spinnaker overboard?
Tony, once again, another great race in the series, and we're only up to race 2.
Still all light weather too. Wait till we see a few fresh breezes, Morris, and that'll really test them out.
I'm looking forward to that.
Line 7 must be coming home a much better spot today as well. Young Trent up the bow and Brent there.
As we see the crews coming across the finishing line there, there's line 7.
Nice balance, Trevor. Well sailed.
Thanks, fellas. Thank you. Tell us about it. We couldn't have asked for any more, really. We've got a great start right at the boat. And nice little right-hand shift up to the first mark, and we led all the way. The guys did a fantastic job. Didn't put a foot wrong all day. So what about number 3? Well, it's in that big truck, though. Looking good. Yeah, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Making a few little mistakes, but I think if the breeze is starting to kick in a little bit more now, we should do a little bit better. Have you got the whole family on board? Just about, yeah. I was the missus at the board and I'll be fine. How does that work when you're out there? Do you all get along all right? Oh, yeah, we have our ups and our downs and our little arguments, but in the end we're all the best of friends and the best of mates. And we seem to be pretty lucky today in the harbour in that there's not too many spectator craft, which is good news. Yeah, well, doing on this day, particular day, if you did it on a Saturday, it'd be a nightmare out here. But it's very clear of all the other boats. It's great. Makes for nice equal racing. It is, yeah. It's a very difficult and trying course, but the best guys win, so that's what it's all about.
A family yacht there taking 2nd place, 2UE Barracuda. Let's have a look at the results after race 2 of the series. 1st place, Pace Express. 2nd, 2UE Barracuda. And in 3rd spot, Richard Ellis. Let's talk to the winning skipper. Steve, congratulations on your win in the second race.
Thanks, Morris. It went well.
Describe to me what happened out there. You did so well in week 1, you got second place, but you pulled it off today.
Yeah, we did. We were very lucky. We got a good start right at the boat end, and a little bit of a shift to the right up the first work, and went around the first mark in good shape, and there was a bit of a hold-up behind us, so we got a clean run down the first reach. Bit of trouble getting around the wing mark. We had to flog our chute, but once we were around, we looked behind, and it was daylight, really. It was good. Everything went well from there.
Steve, as you know, the race start is critical, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. In these tight courses, if you don't get off the line, you've got a bit of trouble. It's not easy to get back.
As you said, there was a mention of a bit of a block up behind you.
Yeah.
He gave you the opace.
Yeah, well, you've got to be lucky sometimes, don't you?
Well, congratulations on your win today.
Thank you. My guys did a fantastic job today. They didn't put a foot wrong, and everything went well. It was good.
Well, good luck for the rest of the series.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at the points table after race 2. Pace Express on top with 19 points, followed by Richard Ellis and 2UE Barracuda. Those 3 skiffs performing well in both races. Now, Paul World Exchange there on 10 points. A terrible start today, and they couldn't catch up. Aspie on 8, Foster's Light Ice on 4, Hogsbeth 3, Lexmark 2 and AFS on 1. A great day's racing. Tony, at the beginning of the race, you tipped that Pace would do very well, and it has done well. You took it out.
I must know what's happening. I don't know how I got them so good, but yes, he sailed well and deserved to win. But again, I like the way Trevor sailed in the 2UE Barracuda. He sailed well. Richard Ellis came third. Great performance by West Coast Cool. That is a 4-year-old boat. No, it's not the greatest boat in our fleet. And gee, they sailed well, didn't they? Didn't you think they sailed well, Morris?
Fantastic. Now, I hate to do this to you. It's only race 2. But are there some favourites sort of coming and going at the moment or not?
Morris, look, after tipping this winning, I'm going to stick with it and stay with Pace and 2UE because they're looking very good. As I said before, this race started, I like Lexmark too.
I hope you've enjoyed race 2 of the Powerade Super Skiff Series. Plenty more to come. We'll see you next week on the water for race 3.